You won't want to miss Saltburn in theaters.
It's a beautifully wicked tale of privilege and desire, and it stars a killer cast, including Barry Keoghan, Jacob Elordi, and Rosamund Pike.
Written and directed by Emerald Fennell, it's the follow-up to her Oscar-winning film, Promising Young Woman.
Critics and audiences are calling it dark, twisted, hilarious, and sexy.
Don't miss Saltburn, now playing only in theaters.
Rated R, saltburnfilm.com.
This episode is brought to you in part by Purina. The holidays are here. It's such a fun and festive time, and also a great opportunity to reflect on all the things we're thankful for. And if you're like most people, your pet is somewhere at the top of your list. Purina is dedicated to creating richer lives for pets and the people who love them. From helping older pets think like their younger selves, to making cat ownership a possibility for more people than ever. Purina is helping pets live longer, healthier, happier lives. Your pet gives you so much the whole year round. So this holiday season, treat your pet with Purina Treats. Best-in-class nutrition, unsurpassed taste. From dogs to cats, Purina has you covered for all your treat needs. Your pet is Purina's passion. Head to Amazon.com/Purina to learn more.
And here's your prescription.
I know just the pharmacy to get this filled.
Who are you?
A pharmacy benefit manager. A middleman your insurer uses to decide which medicines you can get, what you pay, and sometimes even which pharmacy you should go to.
Why can't I go to a pharmacy in my neighborhood?
Because I make more money when you go to a pharmacy I own.
No one should stand between you and your medicine. Visit phrma.org/middleman to learn more. Paid for by Pharma.
Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that happens? Watch what happens. Watch what happens. Who cares what happens when there's so much that happens?
Hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me today is the wonderful and hilarious Mr. Ronnie Karam. Hey, Ronnie, how are you?
Well, hello, Banoons. How's it going with your turkey?
It's going pretty well, thanks. Speaking of turkey, it's Thanksgiving week. Very excited. I'm going to start doing my meal prep, not meal prep, but like menu prepping after this. I'm like giddy with it. But I guess we talked about that yesterday on Married to Medicine, so no need to go back into the Thanksgiving well. How are you doing today, Ronnie?
Did you get your turkey?
Yes, I got my turkey. Turkey is in the fridge, taking up residence. It's defrosting. It's a butterball. I'm not opposed to a butterball turkey because last year I got a non-butterball, like a nice fresh turkey, and it was shitty. And then I also I made 2 turkeys last year, and the butterball was delicious. So guess what? I'm team butterball now.
Listen, there's something to be said about preservatives and shit. People worked a very long time to come up with those, okay?
Yeah.
Whatever they're injecting into everything. Sure. Are we growing second noses? Sure. Are we having a lot of mental issues? We sure are. But guess what? It's worth some tender food.
Yeah.
Some tender, tasty food. Yes, preservatives. You're killing it, food industry.
Yeah, those butterball turkeys are chemically, they're not even turkeys. They are just made in a lab and just like carved into the shape of a turkey. And guess what? They're delicious and they work for me. So that's what I'm going to go for.
Listen, we're in an era where I'm actually jealous of things made in a lab. I was like, my parents suck. Why did they insist on doing everything so fucking natural? I really could have, used some genetic splicing pre-birth. I would have loved that. I could have used some Petri dish, creativity. What the hell? Do you know how hard I'm taking vegan collagen over here? I'm moisturizing. I'm wanding my face. I mean, shit, splice those genes up and do it right next time, for fuck's sake. I'm all for the butterball. My goal in life is to be a butterball. I want a butterball face.
Let me tell you something. The butterball is basically the Beverly Hills housewife of turkeys. It has had so many injections and it's had so many fluids put into it, all in the pursuit of being beautifully plump and juicy and wonderful. So, I'm excited for that. I got to figure out some other dishes. I want to mix it up. It's always the same stuff every year, which is fun, but I'm going to try to mix it up this year. But anyway, maybe we'll find
Thanksgiving,
inspiration.
you can't mix it up on Thanksgiving. You
Yeah,
get the same shit every single time, and that's it. And that's what you get. And then if you do anything different, then everybody's like, ew, what are you doing this Thanksgiving? Are you not thankful to God? It's like, oh, for Christ's sake, somebody has a salad.
I know. You know what? I mean, therein lies the tension of Thanksgiving, which is it's the only time in the year you're ever going to really make stuffing, right? So you're like, well, you got to make the stuffing because it's the only time I ever make it. So this is the excuse to make that stuff. But then you also say, but it's always the same stuff every year. So I may change some things up this year just in the pursuit of, honestly, just having an excuse to go into all the cookbooks I keep buying. And like, I need to actually use the cookbooks. So it's really just sunk cost fallacy at this point. That's like driving my motivations.
Well,
So-
hey, that works. It drives it drives 90% of the relationships in this country. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not let it drive your diet as well? Sunken cost fallacy. Ding.
There we
Marry
go.
that butterball.
So
Put that butterball in some Chanel and get it married, girl.
one of the things I'm thankful for is Real Housewives of Potomac, which is what we're about to recap right now. This is on Crappens on Demand, by the way. Come join us on Patreon, patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens. You can support on the Crappens on Demand level, and you can watch this on video. When you sign up, be sure to mind the cap, the cap that you can put on. That allows you to spend as much or as little as you want on Patreon. So this way, you can control that aspect. So really pay attention to that, and go to patreon.com/watchwhatcrappens, and see you on the video. For right now, though, let's dive into the recap. Where we last left off, Ashley was having a very, very, very messy moment at her housewarming party, talking to Wendy and making it sound like the new girl, Nneka, was just like talking all this shit about Wendy when literally Nneka was just like reacting to whatever Ashley was saying.
Yeah, Ashley was super messy as usual because that's what Ashley does. Now, this episode took an interesting turn because it did get scary towards the end because Wendy's mother entered the fray. So we'll have to see how we get there. Because after last week, I was like, damn it, Ashley, this is terrible. How could you spread this kind of stuff up against somebody and using ancient tribal caste systems against people? How dare you? And then by the end of today, it's like, she's put a voodoo curse on you.
I know. It's a lot of hex drama happening at the end. So,
I just love it. I mean, just when you think there was a moment at the beginning of the season, and literally, what are we, 3 episodes in or 4 episodes in?
3
but
episodes.
we were like, I'm always worried. I've said that a million times. I'm always worried, like, is this the end? And I was worried, like, they've had such good seasons, season after season. Like, is this going to be a dud? Is this just going to be a dud season? But then we bring out voodoo,
Yeah.
someone's mom doing voodoo on people. I mean, I'm in. I'm 100% in. You win the award already. The best TV show of the year, Crappy Award. Take it.
Exactly. So it opens up with Wendy, basically clarifying what Osu is, saying that it's like from ancient gods in Nigeria, and she's basically saying my family is not Osu, because people who are Osu are outcast, and her family's not outcast. And she's like, it's and that article that was saying that she was Osu is just a bad article. It's not us. We're not Osu.
Well, it's interesting because Wendy is doing this thing where she's just playing everything off. Like, I don't care. I mean, what? She's saying, oh, so what even is that? It's no big deal. Blah, blah, blah. It's a tribal thing. But then she's making everything about Catholicism all of a sudden. It's like so Catholic all the time. I mean, and granted, it's because her kids have their first communion. I get that. But I don't remember ever hearing about Catholicism from Wendy before, but now it's a lot. So I started thinking at the beginning, like, is she really bothered by this? And is this something I need to really investigate? Because I'm into it. I'm loving the drama of all of it.
Osu detective Ronnie Karam.
I finally become like religious.
So then we go back to the lunch table where the rest of the women are, and Maya's like, so Robin, I care about you, and I really, really want to support you as a friend during this time, and I know it's hard. And Robin's like, no, listen, this is the thing about me. I don't care. Listen, I'm not running from anything. I'm like, oh my God, don't talk about me. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you talked about me. I'm not doing any of that, okay? I just wish Ashley was here because Giselle and Ashley and Charisse, we had get together and they were talking some things. And, they said, Giselle, you were very adamant that Juan can't be around his coworker and friends because of the optics of it all, Giselle.
So, well, I was saying in public. I was just saying about in public. What he's doing in public. Do your laundry in private with blondes. Do your laundry in private with blondes. That's what I was saying. She's like, no, let me talk. Okay. Like, I'm not going to ask him to do anything differently than he would normally do outside my knowledge. Hold on. I have a voicemail from Juan. You mind if I take, hold on. I don't care. I don't care, Robin. Yeah, okay. Well, if Juan doesn't care, so I don't care either.
So Giselle's like, did I say that? You said, well, for optics, you said. Well, did I say that? Oh, well, so Mia's like, Mia's basically, I'm sorry, my notes just totally scrolled up by accident. I got very confused. Mia's like, you said that he can't be seen with her, and she's like, no, I did not say that. And Robin's like, well, she wanted me to be upset with him because I'm dragged into a situation where the public is just speculating, and what I'm saying is I don't care that the block is hot. But I think it's like, no, you shouldn't care that the block is hot, but you should be annoyed. Like, I feel like you should be annoyed that he's like the hotel thing and everything. Like, he is doing things. You're a public figure too, and he should be considering you just the way you consider him, just the way that Robin is careful about saying certain things about the basketball thing or whatever. The way she's protected Juan over the years, he should also have some consideration for her because she is the one that gets dragged through all this mess and has to answer the questions ceaselessly.
Well, this is why Giselle's bringing it up the way she is, because they can kind of control the narrative if Giselle's controlling it. And then Robin gets to sit down and discuss it exactly how she wants to, because the narrative really isn't about the girl in the hotel, which I think is the real bad one. Like, that's the real obvious one. I can see somebody hanging out with somebody from work and doing laundry. I mean, even though that's pretty up in the air too, I could buy that one. But the one, now they're concentrating on that instead of the whole like, well, I help homeless people. And that girl, lost her wallet. So, of course, I'm going to help her, just like I would any other person under a freeway, Robin. That's where I think he really gets in trouble. But Robin's like, well, I feel sorry for the people who waste our precious time worrying about my boring life. And how dare you speak about the Bravo audience like that, okay? And also, why don't you apologize to the people who have spent our time worrying about your boring-ass life and make it less boring, okay?
I know.
I mean, you've got 2 full-fledged affairs allegedly going on, and you're still boring. You're still boring, okay? Make an effort, Robin.
And you know what? She should feel sorry for us because we're the ones who have to sit here and waste our breath on Robin's life. So Giselle, she's like, okay, well, thank you for the update. Have we handled all that? Which is her way of basically saying, okay, you didn't get the point, and I'm not willing to get into a fight with my bestie, so we're just going to move on. You're totally wrong in the situation, but I'm going to keep that to myself. I said what I had to say, and now it's all on you.
Yeah, and she's also doing the whole. I don't think that it's that from Giselle. I think it's more like, well, I've done it. We've brought it on television, and now we can move on to other storylines and try to ruin other people's lives. And you can stay away from my friend. For example, Karen owes. I told Karen she owes you an apology, and Karen's like, well, I said to Giselle that you owe me an apology. So I don't think you can move forward without talking with me. So are we going to talk, or are we not going to talk? Ron's like, I'm open to. It's like, here we go again, Let's do this again. Every season, Robin and Karen have to have a talk where they sit down and they agree to get along, and then 2 episodes later, they're trying to stab each other.
Yeah, this was very Love Island, this moment, because it was like, can I pull you for a chat? Like, that's the big thing on Love Island, and that's basically what's happening at this party. You have Ashley with Wendy. Like, Ashley pulled Wendy for a chat, and now here comes Karen pulling Robin for a chat. So they go inside. And then everyone else just
say that Love Island is very Real Housewives. Okay, you're giving Love Island the credit for that. Love Island is a copycat.
Everything is Real Housewives. First of all, everything is Real Housewives, and everything owes Real Housewives a debt of gratitude.
Thank you.
But that being said, like, the motif of how they move the stories along on Love Island, like, blatantly is just like people saying, "Can I pull you for a chat?" So this just felt like the way they just kept on peeling off from this group table felt very Love Island to me. which is honestly a high compliment coming from me as a huge Love Island UK fan. So so then they go inside, and then Ashley comes back out, and Mia's like, "Where have you been?" And she's like, "Oh, I've just been talking to the doctor. We got a really good conversation, Wendy and I." And then we cut to, it's really hard because everything's cutting back and forth between these two scenes. But we then go over to Karen, who's like, "Well, have a seat, Miss Robin. We're going to sit right by each other, okay? Let's sit in this awkward position here at this table, okay? Look, you and I have not been the closest of friends in this circle for years. I mean, you married to a cheater, me part of a great institution. We're very different people, but last year it went extremely left."
And then we see a clip. "One day people will see you for who you are." And Karen's like, "People see me right now. Guess what they see? Blood institution, billboards. That's what they see." She's like, "Yeah, bullshitter. That's what they see." And Karen, then we move on to the rumors about the blonde in Georgetown. And we all know about it. And Robin's like, "I've never heard about a blonde in Georgetown in my life. But you should care, Karen, about people sending pictures of you with the blue-eyed man in Redskins gear in Vegas." And Karen obviously being guilty, just Karen's guilty face, like, "Oh." So she's like, "Okay, listen, here's what I care about. How Robin Dixon and Karen Hugo move on. Set boundaries. What are your boundaries? What are they? What are my boundaries? Whose boundaries are there? Are we going to be dinging each other's doorbells and trying to prove that we don't live it where we say we are with Domino's workers? Can we leave the Domino's workers alone? Did anybody tip the Domino's workers?"
What's a good way to demarcate a boundary? Should I should I paint the grass? Should I put some stones out? I have an idea. We'll build a fence. We're going to build me all around the property of my emotional debris.
So Karen's like, "Okay, I'm only going to repeat facts about you," which is her tricky way of being like, "And the facts are your husband's a cheating slime bag." So if I reserve the right to repeat that because they are facts, okay? And Robin's like, "Okay, same thing with you, Redskin team fucker."
So Ashley is like, so Wendy, Karen told us that you may be doing a new show." And Wendy's like, "Yes. So you guys know I've been in she says the global political commentator space for a long time," which is funny to me because I'm like, I'm sure people in Luxembourg are tuning in to hear what Wendy has to say. But she's like, "And I came to a point, especially during the pandemic, where I felt like news sometimes shies away from topics that they think are too controversial." And then Sharice is like, "Well,
Okay.
everything isn't for everybody."
I can't wait to see what Wendy's going to bring up that the news is shying away from. "How are you getting along with your husband?" Whoa, that's too controversial for the news. Watch out, Diane Sawyer. Wendy's coming through with her stuff that the news is terrified of.
Yeah, because you know what? The news these days, it's really just so easygoing. You know, I find when I turn on the news, I'm like, there's nothing here that's controversial.
Purely fucking fluff.
It's just fluff. Really. Remember the good old days when you got riled up about things? Not anymore.
God, everybody's just so loving towards each other these days. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Sharice is like, "Well, I guess everything's not for everybody." And she's like, "No, everything is not for everybody. My demographic is a little bit different. The educational demographic of my show, I mean." Oh, okay. Okay, Wendy. Well, guess what? People do not want to watch a conversational variety show from somebody that's too smart. I can tell you that right now. Because if you're going to be mixing news, like light news, with relationship shit, which is what's about to come up, don't tell me you're more educated than me. I don't want to fucking hear that from my Entertainment Tonight people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the educational demographic of my show. Yes, I'm sure Joyce Carol Oates is going to tune in to watch you broadcast from an apartment somewhere in like suburban DC to talk about politics, but also like your favorite pizza cutter. So
I'm sure she'll do fine and get an audience. I just don't want to sit there and listen to people who are smarter than me. Okay, I just don't. Unless it's straight up news, then it's okay. But if you're doing like, I'm doing more than just the news, I'm gonna do Wendy, then no, I don't want you to be smarter than me. I mean, what the hell? You know who else I can listen to that's smarter than me? Almost anybody. Okay? I need people as dumb as me or dumber. That's who I need.
Well, my issue is that where I struggle with Wendy is I don't like how she's here saying like, oh yeah, well my show, it's going to be different. My show is going to appeals to a different educational demographic, like implying this is going to be high-minded, news-oriented, intellectual show. And then but last week we see her and she's like, oh, what's a production assistant? How do I set up a show? So she's doing like the dumb thing last week, but then this week she's trying to sell like this is gonna be actually a show for smart people. And I'm like, you can't have it both ways. Okay, you have to like choose your lane here.
Also, generally, really highly educated demographics don't watch that much TV. So good luck.
Yeah.
So I think that's true. Like I said, I'm not highly educated, so I'm going to go ahead and just assume that that's true. Everybody run with it. Spread it.
Literally like, this is true. They're like, oh, I'm not familiar with that. Is that in the New Yorker?
Yeah.
So,
smart people I know are always like, oh, I don't even own a TV.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
What? TV? You watch TV? Housewives? What?
So Wendy's like, yeah, my show vibrates really high. So if people are not at an intellectual level to receive it, I understand why it may not be for them.
So basically, she's just trying to call Mia stupid, which I don't think anybody's going to argue with or really care, right? So Giselle's like, well, that's a little shady. I'm not really sure who you're coming for with that. But Wendy's just like, I'm Wendy. I'm going to have a show that you're all too stupid to watch, basically. And then later she's going to be like, why isn't anybody nice to me in this group? Yes. I just don't get it. So Giselle's like, well, that's shady. And when he goes, was I? I was just drinking my water. I mean, it's like, oh, yeah, well, she already made it very clear that she says she doesn't want to fuck with me. So, and Wendy's like, well, if someone threw a drink on you, would you? Which is a very good point.
Yeah, it's unassailable. And then we see the flashback of that, which they show once or twice this episode. So then we go back inside and Karen says, now, I need to know something. Your marriage, Robin, is it open or is it traditional? Basically, is it an institution or is it in shambles using some sort of excuse for why it's in shambles?
And Robin's like, we have a traditional marriage where we're roommates and the husband probably has a different apartment where he bangs other people and has to do laundry in a laundromat. What is so hard to understand?
And you're married legally? All right, great. That's all I needed to know. Can I expect the same from you, though, as far as we deal with each other? And Robin's like, yeah, I mean, you started it. That's all I can say.
You started it.
No, you did.
No, you did. You started it.
You did it. You did.
You did. You started it. Lying.
I don't care.
You started lying, not me.
Care.
There you go.
I
Lying.
took a
Lying.
DNA
You
test.
did.
I
Started it.
100%
Started
that
it.
bitch, and that bitch doesn't care.
You did. So Robin's like, listen, the moral of the story is don't talk about me and I won't talk about you. If I hang up my towel, then you should hang up your towel when you're... I'm sorry, I'm going into my marriage rules with my roommate. The end. It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens come.
Let's be real, Ronnie. No matter how well you know someone, gift giving is never easy. But this year, I am going to get those on my list, a gift that they actually want with Quince. And I hope you do too, Ronnie.
Quince creates timeless essentials that never go out of style. You'll have them in your closet forever.
Quince has all the cold weather must-haves, like 100% Mongolian cashmere crew neck sweaters from $59, suede bomber jackets, and organic cotton sweaters.
And the best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. I love that.
I am really excited to go browse through the website, which thankfully is also really easy to go through and pick out the absolute perfect thing for my friends and my family.
Absolutely luxurious. Make gift giving better this year with Quince. Go to quince.com/crappens for free shipping and 365-day returns on your order. That's QUINCE.com/crappens to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crappens.
Today, hip-hop dominates pop culture, but it wasn't always like that. And to tell the story of how that changed, I want to take you back to a very special year in rap.
88, it was too much good music. The world was on fire.
Yeah. I'm Will Smith. This is Class of 88, my new podcast about the moments, albums, and artists that inspired a sonic revolution and secured 1988 as one of hip-hop's most important years. We'll talk to the people who were there. And most of all, we'll bring you some amazing stories. You know what my biggest memory from that tour is? It was your birthday.
Yes, and you brought me the Sade life-size cardboard cutout.
This is Class of 88, the story of a year that changed hip-hop.
Listen to Class of 88 wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge the entire series right now on the Amazon Music app or Audible.
Commercial. So then back outside, Nneka is like, well, I'm not trying to play the lawyer card, but let's get some order going on here.
She's basically already trying to like test out her Real Housewives tagline, right? Like she's like, how did that sound, producers? Was that good? Let's get some order around here. Okay. So Wendy's like, okay, well, first of all, it's not just about throwing the drink, but after we wrapped up in New York and everyone said their piece, then you go on social media and proceed to attack me. So let's not throw rocks and hide our hands here.
Yeah. And Mia's like, well, but you can't talk about women's empowerment when the moment you get a chance to beat someone down, you beat them down. Why not uplift me, Wendy? Because you're fucking terrible. That's why. She does not owe you a lift up. Okay?
She doesn't. You threw a drink on her. Okay.
Yeah,
and don't talk about and by the way, if you're savaging people on social media, but then you're like, but why don't you empower me? That doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Team Wendy on this one. And Wendy goes, because you're slow. I can't lift you. You're too low.
You're too low down. Well, then if you vibrate so high, why are you so quick to call someone slow? It's just because you are slow. So Mia's like, wow, she like in her mind thinks that like she's really going low. Like she thinks she's going high in her mind, but she's actually really going low, okay? Because Wendy comes at people with these like nasty phrases because it's her way of like making herself feel better about herself, and it's not working. So Wendy's like, well, I am like in such a good place, with like I like you and I like you and I like you and I like you and love your energy. She basically says that she loves everyone at the table except for Mia and Giselle.
Yeah, and this is what Wendy does. It makes me crazy. She's like, okay, I love everybody but her. I'm excited about my show, so let's elevate the conversation. You're the one who brought the conversation down. It started as a positive conversation about whatever you're doing. You're the one who brought it down.
Yeah.
So then now they decide to move on to the inside or whatever. And then Nneka's talking to Robin at the bar, and she's like, so how do you feel about all these people being like, don't live your life. Just hide out. Not to play the lawyer card, but objection. Am I right? Objection.
Well, not to play the lawyer card too, but I don't care. Well, I'm a very tough person, so I'm fine. Like, there's definite moments where I was like, Lord, it's like a pylon, but like, it's a crazy life that we live in. People
crazy
just
face,
like,
crazy high, crazy face. Just Deborah, crazy faced.
Oh yeah, Deborah just
passes
walks
by and sticks her head in the conversation. She's like,
hi. Like it's like low in the frame too. It's just like glides by, like it's like just going by, and the music goes shing.
So Robin's like, yeah, it's just so crazy. We're just so famous that people are just constantly following us around, and not that I just happened to marry the most obvious person who's blatantly trying to get in the press cheating on me as I possibly could. Twice. Married him twice. So there's that. So they make some small talk, and then Nneka's like, you seem to know what you're doing, and that's really all that matters. And so they talk like, where are they living? And they're going to go grab this is where Nneka worries me, because she's like, okay, guess what? I'm going to give you a call. We're going to go get a cocky. A cocky? Oh, no. Not
Just
a straight up
Marisol.
Bravo fan. Not a Marisol fan.
She's like, I'm a gay icon. Hey. Pulls out a chest of props. So inside then Ashley's like saying goodbye to Uncle Lump and stuff, and then the women are all sitting around, and Wendy is like, oh, Ashley, I'm having a first communion for the boys, and I told Karen about it. It's next Saturday, and I want you to be there. And this is like right in front of Giselle and and Robin, and like blatantly making sure that they see, and Mia. So like they're blatantly not invited to this communion.
Oh my God. We don't get to gather around and watch your children eat bread? No. How will I spend that money? I could have bought gifts for your children. Oh, no.
But like no one cares. Like no one
cares. I don't
everyone
care
is
about
happy.
your goddamn first communion. Guess what? I'm old enough. I buy my own fucking bottles of wine. Have fun, sucker.
No one wants to go to a communion. I'll just say that.
Nobody.
I just have to assume. I've actually never been invited to a communion, but I'm okay with that.
They
I don't
suck.
need to go to one.
Okay, I did one. I was communed. It sucks. And do you know how much bread they give you? One bite. Like, who the fuck is supposed to sit through that? I just gave my spirit to Jesus for one fucking bite of bread. I snuck home and just ate a whole loaf of Wonder Bread after that shit. I needed it.
What do you you're like, I want a lot of Jesus. What do you have to do in a communion other than eat the wafer?
They do a prayer, like they do a big prayer thing, and then the kids line up and they go down the line and basically get like a little on your head. And then you do it's your first communion. So you take the body of Christ and the blood of Christ, which is the piece of bread, and then a little thing of wine or grape juice. If you went to my Meemaw's church, Jesus Chapel, you just got grape juice because wine's a sin, which was never really explained well since Jesus made it from water. But I don't know. You don't go there for logic. Really, you go there for bread.
You go there for a snack. Yeah, I just was wondering because later in the episode, one of the kids was like, "I was really nervous." Is that something that kids get nervous about doing?
Well, there's a crowd there, and everybody's invited to see you. And I mean, I guess you get nervous.
I'm like, well, you have a bar mitzvah, and then you talk about that's when you get nervous. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, you guys really have to have to sing, whether you can or not. You have to get your ass up there and sing.
It's like forced singing. You're forced to sing in a language that you don't understand, and with people staring at you. So.
And I have to say, I have been to a lot of bar mitzvahs in my day. Just a lot of my friends growing up were Jewish. And so I went to Hebrew school, as I've told you in the past. But you know what I never noticed in Hebrew school is something you told me recently, that there's no instruments in temple, which is different because like cool church, has instruments. So we were talking about that a couple of weeks, but it does kind of explain some of the singing I've heard at bar mitzvahs. Am I allowed to even criticize bar mitzvah singing?
I'm going to give you a safe space, and then this way I'll take the heat if I've given you a safe space and you say something offensive. There's
not a ton of tone in that singing because you're saying like forced singing. Growing up, we had forced karaoke in my house, and you just had to kind of learn, and it's not like we're not all great singers or whatever. But my best friend David growing up, his bar mitzvah, he didn't even care either.
Tone.
He was just toneless. He did not even care. And I was like, you know what? This is how to get into the kingdom of God.
It's actually true. This is actually a very true thing. And in fact, not only is there not a lot of tone, that if you go to a synagogue and someone has a cantor, the cantor is, for those who don't know, that's like someone who's like can sing and will sing the prayers. When a cantor shows out, I'm always like, what are they doing? Like if the cantor's like, Ashrei, Ashrei v'techa, I'm like, excuse you, you have to sound like you were just dying on the inside and waiting to get to the bagel at the end of this. Like I'm always like, whenever there's like someone who sings too well up there, I'm like, what are you doing? What do you like? This is not a place for singing. It's funny. Like, and the amount of
no one likes an overconfident cantor. All right.
The thing that's funny is that at the bar and bat mitzvahs, the parents have to go up. The parents also have to do a little bit of singing. They have to do prayers from the Torah, and really, I mean, it's so interesting the amount of different ways people can sing without tone. Like different versions of just atonal singing of Hebrew prayers, like Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kisham, and you're like, oh my God, it's so good. It's like the exact opposite of gospel music. Gospel music is like big with deep, not deep, but like rich, beautiful voices, and then we're like, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Yeah. Well, definitely. Yeah. There are different tiers of like entertainment value. I will say bar mitzvah's way more fun, way better catering than any first communion things I ever did or went to, you know? I mean, you guys really, really know how to show out.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, you go through the bad singing, but you have a great party afterwards.
Amazing. Yeah.
There are going to be some people
stuff.
who are really mad at me. They're like, excuse me. Everyone who sings in my synagogue sounds beautiful and wonderful. Everyone is great. Have you never heard of some of our most famous Jewish singers that we've had in the world?
Yeah, but I think there is something. It is kind of like karaoke in the way, like no one wants to hear a good karaoke singer, right? Like when someone, you know, when people get up there and they're, hey, and I am one of those people, by the way. I'm fucking obnoxious. I hate singing karaoke because I'm like a theater kid, you know, so I can't help it. I'm like, hey, yeah. If I was bar mitzvahed, I'd be, hallelujah. Hold it. We're going to hold that one. And I think it would probably work that way with bar mitzvahs too, where, like you said, you don't want to hear somebody like really singing well. You know, who wants that?
Well, with karaoke, there's an uncanny valley of quality, which is that you want to hear people who are really terrible, or you want to hear people that are absolutely amazing. Like you dream for the day that you're sitting there and then like Kelly Clarkson walks in and starts doing karaoke. You're like, yes. But what you don't want is the uncanny valley, which is that area that's too close to the good singer but not quite good, so it feels terrible. So what you don't want is the person who you don't want Myra, who sings in her shower and whose mom loves her voice, and she gets up there and she's like, black velvet, black velvet, and she thinks she's so good.
Right. You're so right with the finger
a little bit
too.
of like,
Ben's like pointing his finger in the air.
Oh yeah, sorry. Black velvet. And they're doing Ron. They got melisma, but they're like, there's some tone in there. There's like some good stuff, but like largely it's like just terrible. Like that's what I don't want, because they're taking it seriously. They're hoping that they're going to get discovered. And guess what, Myra? You're not going to be discovered. Go back to the FedEx shop.
I know. Same thing at a bar mitzvah. You're like, okay, this is the bar mitzvah. You can calm down. Okay. No one's signing anybody out of a bar mitzvah.
You know, there's going to be some stories like Barbara Streisand was discovered at her bat mitzvah.
Okay, so Wendy has just dropped this thing trying to make everybody upset. Like, oh, I'm not inviting people to my first communion. And they just kind of stare at her because it's just like unbelievably rude for no reason. Like she's just trying to start some shit, and she is on Real Housewives, so I get it. But Wendy just is always trying, and it just never quite works. You know, she's like trying to start with them. They do not care, Wendy. They don't care about you. They don't care about your stupid first communion. Nobody's got time for that. Okay.
Wendy is at her best. Like I loved Wendy when she first came on, and I still actually do like Wendy, but she's at her best when she is just like the smart professor in the room, and she doesn't lower herself down to Robin's level or to Ashley's level. And when they try to comfort her, she just reads them down. Like, 'cause she can read people really well, and she's so good at it, and she is so smart. So when she just like, sometimes I do feel like, I don't know, maybe she doesn't dumb herself down for TV, but like, I feel like she's not leading into just being like the smart lady that she is. Like, I feel like that used to be her whole thing, and maybe she got a lot of flack for being like, oh, Wendy and her degrees, da 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 da. Although she still does brag about them. But I just feel like when Wendy does the dumb thing, like, oh my God, what's a production assistant? Or last year, like, what's a business plan? I just feel like she's just so much less appealing. I just want her.
Well, she's not smart in that area. Those areas are new to her. I mean, I look at it like this. Wendy is better when she's on the defense. She's not really an offense player. When she comes in to play offense, it's like awkward because she doesn't ever choose the right timing. She's holding on to stuff from a season gone past where everybody's like, let's move on. This is the move on part. She's just like, it's awkward because she's trying to be on the offense. And it's just, that's not why people watch you play. Like you need to be on the defense. So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So then meanwhile, Candace is selfieing on her tour. She's like, I'm doing 9 cities, and that's insane. And then Robin and Juan are walking in their neighborhood, and they encounter like a dead snake in the road. It's not only dead, it's been like run over a few times. It's just like like snake muscle and bone. It's just like a strange visual. And then Juan keeps on
been
picking
skinned. I mean, what the hell was that? The
something
snake
happened
was
to
skinned.
it. It was that snake went through it. That snake definitely had a bad end.
Well, speaking of someone who will not be getting a TV show that's way above everybody's heads, Juan goes, "Wow, I didn't even know snakes had bones." Really?
They're just
on.
blobs. They're just blob invertebrates.
They're just sacks of goo.
Maybe worms. Maybe worms don't have bones.
So
am I wanting it now? Do worms have bones? Worms don't have bones.
I refuse to answer any of your quiz questions because I'm not prepared for that.
I will
I'm not
look
falling
it up.
for that anymore.
Do worms have bones?
No, worms don't have bones.
No. They're invertebrates. See?
No. But I mean, a snake has teeth. Teeth are bones, right? Okay, look that up. Are teeth bones? I told you. I warned you. This is what's going to happen. You try and quiz me. Now I'm going to have 20 questions about it. Are teeth bones? I think they're bones.
Well, okay, here's the answer. And it's very British. It says, whilst your teeth and your bones may share some similarities, most notably in both, teeth are not made from bone.
Well, there you go. You know, I'm not going to have a TV show for smart people either. So it's official. Okay, so they take an odd snake walk, and then Giselle goes shopping with Grace, and, you know, they kind of tease each other.
I adore this store, and I feel like you look like a beautiful little angel in that dress. Sorry, I had to incorporate all the girls' names because you mentioned adore, Grace.
You have so much grace in that dress that I adore, my little angel. So they're looking for clothes for party time because it's almost prom time or whatever. And this is like a cute mother-daughter shopping scene.
Can we skip this scene? I'm
yeah,
sorry.
let's skip it. You can't see my fingers.
Bar mitzvahs. So instead of this scene, we talked about bar mitzvahs and we talked about singing. Let's move on. Honestly,
this is
it was
what
a
my
lovely
fingers
scene.
are doing. Scrolling down.
It was like a lovely scene. Like, you know, I love Giselle and her daughters. Don't need to talk about it. They had a nice time. Okay, so now we go to Wendy's. And she's in her kitchen with Eddie and the kids. Eddie is wearing a T-shirt that says Happy Eddie, so he's now pushing the Happy Eddie brand. No one cared. No one really cared that much last season, and they definitely don't care enough this season to buy a T-shirt. So we can just stop this right now. We can. Well, stop
she's
this
coming
nonsense.
she's coming from the candy place of like turn your housewives' pain into dollars, like the dungeon tour and all the stuff that Candy does. Candy will trademark anything. Like if you just Candy, she will trademark it and she will profit off of it. So I guess there's definitely precedent for it, but who wants to wear a shirt that says Happy Eddie? It doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Like why would I, as a Ronnie, wear a shirt that says Happy Eddie? I don't know. Think through your merch. Think it through.
It's just one of those things that was like hilarious to Wendy. Like just because it catches on in your family and you're making like jokes around the dinner table about that, I don't know if it's going to translate to the world at large. Like you have to,
man, we're really on Wendy today.
We are. I'm mad at Wendy. I don't know why.
Wendy hasn't even done anything really. We're really
this
on
T-shirt.
Wendy today.
This T-shirt is a certifiable offense. I'm sorry. Like it's not T-shirt. The Happy Eddie thing is not T-shirt worthy. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So she's like, Catholicism, First Communion. So we see pictures from her First Communion, and so she shows the family and stuff, and she's like, I'm Catholic. I went to Catholic school, and I used to get detention because I would roll my skirt up, and then the nuns would tell me my skirt was too short. So I'm definitely a Catholic girl through and through.
Commercials.
It's almost that magical time of year.
Speaking of, what's your favorite Christmas story, Ben?
Hands down, the Grinch.
Same.
It cracks me up that he hates all the merriment.
Right, and he steals everyone's presents.
But then it's like so heartwarming at the end when like the whole town is still singing and he realizes that there's more to Christmas than just gifts.
Oh, I know. It hits me right in the feels.
Best part is, Wondery has a new podcast starring the Grinch. And I think there's someone who wants to tell you more about it, Ronnie.
Hi, it's me, the Grand Poobah of Bah Humbug, the OG Green Grump, the Grinch. From Wondery! 'Tis the Grinch Holiday Talk Show is a pathetic attempt by the people of Whoville to use my situation as a teachable moment. So join me, the Grinch. Listen as I launch a campaign against Christmas cheer, grilling celebrity guests like chestnuts on an open fire. Your family will love the show. As you know, I'm famously great with kids.
Follow Tis the Grinch Holiday Talk Show on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Here comes one right now.
So then Eddie's asking, what are you supposed to wear? And guess you're supposed to wear yellow, but she's going to wear white because, of course. And Eddie's like, but you're not getting communion. Like, why are you wearing white? She goes, well, are my kids getting communion? He goes, yes. So she's like, well, then I'm going to wear white because I'm their mommy. Mommy gets to wear a white dress too.
Yeah, she was like, just like in your wedding, when your wife wears a white dress, mommy's going to wear a white dress too. That's not a thing.
No, it's not a thing. No.
That's terrible. That's not good. So Carter's like, no, you don't wear a white dress if we're not marrying you. And she's like, you're my son. You're forever married to me. Your wife just doesn't know that yet. Well, okay. Good job
luck.
cutting off like 80% of his prospects moving forward.
I know. Good luck with that. So he's like, I don't have a wife. So then they go upstairs to have the kids try on their little suits, which is really cute. And Wendy talks more about how her dad was a preacher, but he wasn't Catholic. But her mom was born Catholic, and her dad is Protestant. And then the dad got really super into religion, and that caused the divorce, etc. So she just has a very religious background that we were not really aware of, as you mentioned earlier. So then the kids come out in their outfits. They're really cute. Of course, and they're ready to go for communion. I mean, what do you want me to say? I don't know what to say.
It's a communion. Like, what are you gonna say? So she starts gossiping with Eddie after all of this, and she's talking about the housewarming and how Ashley brought this new friend, and she's like, I thought she was going to be cool because Ashley's like, oh, she's Nigerian, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, and then Ashley is like, but by the way, when I was talking to my friend, she brought this article up about you being Osu, and we see that. We see Ashley doing it, and Ashley's like,
the Chiron says, and the Chiron on screen, the subtitle says, Ashley actually bringing up the article. Like, even the show is going to bat for Nneka.
So the producer asks Wendy again, so have you met Nneka before? And she's like, well, I mean, I've seen her in passing before. That's what I've seen her in passing. And so it's interesting that they're asking her that again, right? They're like kind of building a case. So then Wendy's like, and then Ashley told me that her friend was asking what kind of doctor I am. And then we see the Chiron going, actually, it was Nneka clarifying what type of doctor Wendy is to Ashley, who's a dummy.
Yeah, all she was doing was just getting clarification. So now Eddie is like, so now you're trying to shoot your shot at a fellow Nigerian? And Wendy's like, yeah, it's just weird because I never even met the girl. And Eddie is like, that's crazy. Like, crazy Eddie. I don't know if this is a woman you want to be getting in with. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so then we go to Mia's apartment. Karen's coming over. Mia wants to murder her husband. You can just tell she wants him dead. And he's like getting the kids ready, and they're going to go out. And, she's like, you got him, Gordon? And he's like, I've got it. And Karen's like, oh, you're going to do daddy duty, AG. And Mia's like, well, with all the changes going on in our business, you mean all that cutting off? And kicked off the boardiness that's been happening with your business after you allegedly were spending money on your personal life instead of the business, and then your whole family revolted and threw your asses out. Yeah. What about
changes? All the changes. I love her spin on that. She goes, we decided to put a pause on having a nanny. I'm like, you ran out of money. It's not that you were like, oh my God, there's so many changes with the business. We have to put a pause on this.
And she's using housewives language too. Like, we put the nanny on pause. And meanwhile, the nanny's like, you better back it up, bitch. You know what? Who do you think is going to walk your children? Who do you think is going to take them to the park? Not me. You know what? Because nannies don't fly with pigeons. And that's just how it's going to go. So you better back the fuck up and you better eat your breadcrumbs, bitch.
So, but Gordon is a huge help, and he's picking up where he can. I mean, when he can pick up, his knees are really terrible. But kids are, the kids are everywhere. So Mia is they head out, and Mia's basically like, so what are your thoughts on that etiquette queen about the? They're talking about the Wendy and the christening, and not the christening, the communion, and how people were not invited to it. So Karen's like, well, I felt that the invitation was personal coming from Wendy, slighting Robin sitting right there. But we also understand that Robin slighted her children in her mind at the family event last year. So fair's fair.
And Mia's like, well, this is why I can't fuck with Robin, because Robin called me slow and says that she vibrates so high. Well, Jeremiah, my son, does have a learning disability. Okay, really? No, you don't get to use that. Do you think? I think that's
I don't know.
bullshit.
It's weird. I was like,
you can't call me slow because
gosh.
my son has a learning disability. Oh, fuck off. That's not even fair. And also, why are you airing that on TV? Like, isn't that your son's thing to?
I don't know. I don't know what to do with this one, because when Wendy said it, I chuckled, and then Mia's like, "Well, my son has a learning disability. He has a speech delay and a learning disability we're working on. He's been called slow." So
she didn't call her that. She didn't call the son that.
Right, but for her, I don't know. What I can't tell is that Mia's track record is that if you give her an inch, she will take a mile. So give her an excuse to be like, woe is me. She will take it. I don't know what the line is on this one. I really don't know what the line is on, part of me feels like I think that probably her, when Wendy said that, she probably was thinking that's fucked up. But then she then says, but now she takes it and goes, oh my goodness, this hurts me to my soul.
How could you, my son?
So
yeah,
it's
she
like,
can't do that.
That's where
she's trying to take someone else's victimhood and use it for her own gain. That's so gross, I think, to take something your child is going through to win a fight. That's gross. And if she had said to Wendy at that point, I don't like that word because, my son is called that at school or whatever, then that would have been different. But holding on to it and then being like, Mia's coming for my son with a disability of some kind or a disorder is gross. Mia's gross. Mia, who does that?
Yeah, it definitely felt like she was leaning in. Okay, so Karen's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and Mia's like, "Well, it's okay because I speak to him that he's smart and that he's kind and brilliant." Karen's like, so it hits you a certain way. It's like, yeah, kids are cruel, and I've actually heard other kids call him that. So she talks about how her son is her world and everything and yada yada. And Karen's like, it's a lot of children on Bravo content this week lately on the Real Housewives. I feel like every show has been focusing on.
It's also weaponizing your children a lot, specifically in this episode. Mia's doing it right now. Then Wendy's like, you can't come to my child's first communion, and that was in response to Robin being like, well, you can't come to my family day with your children. Well, your children can rude. Come, but you can't. It's like, why are we all weaponizing our children against? Why are we using our children as weapons against each other? That's just silly.
Yeah, although I have to imagine this probably happens on a day-to-day basis around the country all the time. So,
well, if my mom weaponized me, it was to get me pissed off at somebody so I'd tell them off and use my mouth against them. But it wasn't to use my situations against people.
So Karen is
just aim me properly.
Karen's like, well, I'm not taking up for Wendy, but I do know her to be a compassionate person, and when she knows those things, I do know her to be that way, but she didn't know anything about your son's situation, and I'm not going to be in a position where I am going to choose between the two of you.
And Mia says, yeah, you just hump the fence. And Karen says, I own the fence. Y'all hump my fence. You hump my fence. Hump me. I'm the fence. Why are you humping me? Why? Get off of me.
I love that Karen
really just leaning into fence.
I just like that she's so used to being accused of having no money that her go-to is to say, I own the fence. I own it. I own it. It's like, yes, Karen, we know you own things.
So Candace goes to meet Wendy. They go to this bar restaurant thing. And Candace is talking about her act, so we see a clip of that. And City Winery, love you. Hi, City Winery.
Hi, City Winery.
And Candace is like, okay, so who's this girl who's coming? So we are going to meet a friend of who owns a med spa down the street.
Yes. So a new girl's going to come here, and Wendy is talking about, she just comes. This girl, so her name is Kierna, and she joins them at the bar, and she like works next door and everything. And they're like, oh, hi. And she was at Wendy's Wine with Wendy event that she had at some point. I don't remember if that was last year or 2 years ago. So they're all just like chatting and everything. And Candace is like, oh my God,
Wine
I love
with Wendy.
you.
The wine that vibrates too high to be drunk by stupid people.
Those people will just enjoy wines by Toya. So Candace is like, she's like, oh my God, so have you always had your store here? And the girl's like, oh my God, I'm a Baltimore girl. And Wendy says that she tells Kierna that Ashley had a housewarming event and the vibe was good. But then then she starts talking about how what Ashley told her about Nneka, that Nneka put up this blog about Osu and everything and yada yada yada.
So Candace is like, does she even know you? Do you know her? Or do you have people in common? What is this? And Wendy's like, well, honestly, I met this girl for the first time at Ashley's thing. Like, if she knows me, that's different. Which is already fishy, right?
Right.
So what is she doing? She's doing the Karen storyline from her first season where she's like, oh, remember Karen? I know you. And Karen's like, I don't know you. She's like, yes, we're on a board together. Well, I'm on lots of boards. What are you going to do? I am the board. Watch people file their nails with me. I'm a board. I am a board. I'm board certified by me. Because I'm a board. And Wendy's like, no, we know each other. So I don't know why she is now repeating the same storyline onto this poor new girl. But here we go.
You are totally right. That's exactly what's happening. So Candace, of course, is immediately suspicious. She's like, did Ashley tell you this about Nneka? And Wendy's like, yes, but she said that when she had the meeting with the girl, that's what happened. And Candace is like, see, like, isn't that like a red flag, right? Isn't that a red flag that Ashley told you all this? She goes, I think that we have learned at this juncture that when Ashley's coming to people with information, she's doing it from a place of messy ass hoe.
And on point. True. She's true. And why anybody falls for Ashley's bullshit. And they do every single time. I mean, she's so good at it. So Wendy's like, well, I'm going to have my first communion on Saturday for my kids. And then we're going to have a brunch after. And I want you guys there. But, this is going to be your first time seeing Ashley, And Candace is like, well, I mean, I do like her. But then she turns around and stabs you in the side of your ear.
Yeah. Karen's like, not endangering the earlobe. So now Karen and Ashley meet up to get some outfits for the communion, big communion event. And Karen's Karen's just walking the store.
I just got bit.
Do fences often get bitten? Do bugs know not to bite fences?
And she's like, oh my God, what are we going to do with something? I've got a bug bite. I've got a bug on my nose, a bite on my nose. So they have to take care of Karen's bug bite. And then they start basically talking about everything going on. And Ashley's like, this store, I don't know, it's got really conservative things. Is there anything that'll look good on my boobs? Ashley, you're going to a first communion. Okay?
Yeah.
A pantsuit's not going to kill you.
It'll be okay. It will be okay. Also, by the way, I was amused by Karen being really obsessed with her bug bite because she was like, oh, I got bitten by a bug. Oh, no. And so she looks at herself in the mirror and she goes, it's huge. Oh, no. I'm like, you literally cannot see it on camera at all. And she's fully obsessed with it. Also, what bug goes up and bites you on the nose while you're walking on the sidewalk? That's what I would like to know.
A rude one. Fucking rude bug.
Clearly,
that would not be invited to my child's first communion. I'll tell you that.
That's true.
So they make small talk about boobs and dresses and how they fit and all that stuff. So then Karen's like, well, I have a question for you. I did go to see Candace. And you guys are going to be with Wendy tomorrow. So how are you feeling? How are you feeling about being with Wendy? Do you feel like you just got a bite of prime meat right down your colon? No, I'm sorry. That was the bug. Congratulations, bug. You really struck gold with that one.
You got a taste of the institution. So Ashley said,
Well, she made it clear. I mean, she wants no correspondence with me, and that's completely fine with me, Karen.
and Karen says, well, I shared with her that it was odd. It was odd and really strange to me that no one brought up her name at housewarming. And basically, Karen's like, I know an icy situation when I see one. Ice a bitch out 101 is don't mention her name. I've been there. So she's basically saying that everyone's like, don't even talk about her on camera and just make her irrelevant on the show.
Yeah. And so Karen's like, so tell me about this lawsuit with Michael. Like, what's going on with that? And she's like, you would have to ask Candace. I know nothing about that. And Karen's like, she won't talk about it. And Ashley says, he won't talk about it either. So then we see a flashback of Karen with Candace saying, so $2 million? He's suing you for $2 million? And she's like, with regards to the lawsuit, I'm not answering any questions about it.
So Karen's like, well, I'm disappointed he felt he had to come up with a lawsuit to do it. I mean, I think Michael is just trying to make a point, but was it worth $2 million? Maybe 2 pennies. That's more realistic because we've all heard this. And Candace just has a wonderful way of putting the butter to the bread when it comes to cutting somebody's throat. I'm like, wait, what? Putting the butter to the bread when it comes to putting somebody's throat. I don't totally understand that. But Karen was very amused by it, so I'm going to let her have the moment.
And she's trying, right? Karen's just like flicking through all the storylines and no one's really, biting. No pun intended. But like no one's biting. And so they're talking about, so now she flicks to the next story, which is Mia, right? So she went to visit Mia and they had a good house. And, it was just very painful to hear about what transpired between she and Wendy. Basically, Wendy said she was slow. And, just like the audience, Ashley's looking at her like, and? Like, we're not allowed to call Mia slow now? We're running out of words.
Mia is a little slow. So then Ashley is like,
is Mia hurt that somebody called her slow? I don't think so, but it's going to help her prove her point. And, I have some
Basically, Ashley doesn't believe any of it. She's just like, Mia's going to do this to maximize, like, the sympathy.
Right. So she talks about the situation with Nneka, and she's like, I had this conversation with Nneka, and I guess I kind of told her the wrong thing. Maybe I shouldn't have told her that Wendy was saying this stuff because it really was me who brought it up. And Karen's like, oh, really, Ashley? So you're saying Nneka said she was Osu? And she's like, no, I said that maybe I implied. Maybe she implied that she was Osu. She goes, what did the girl say, Ashley? She's like, nothing really. She's like, you messy Ashley. Messy Ashley.
Karen's like, so you made this shit up. Were you being messy? She's like, I misremembered. Basically, I feel like the producer said to her, like, you're completely lying right now and you're going to look stupid. So you better clean this up before it gets out of hand.
Which is rare. I mean, I don't know that we've really seen it this blatant on a Housewives show where the producer comes in and is like, Ashley, you just made a completely wrong move. You need to backtrack on all of this.
I think the only other time it happened was with Lisa Rinna. Like when Lisa Rinna pretended like remember in Mexico, she was like, I didn't say that about Kim Richards. She's like, nope, I didn't say that. And then later on, she's like, you know what? I was thinking about it. I did say that.
Didn't she always say she doesn't remember saying it?
But I thought it was that, like, wasn't it that, like, she suddenly was like, I suddenly remembered something. I suddenly remembered that I said this. If it was not that situation, I may be conflating two situations. But there was definitely a moment where Lisa pivoted and suddenly remembered something out of the blue. It was, like, very obvious. The producers told her, like, you got this wrong.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that part. I just remember Lisa always being like, don't remember. I mean, if it happened, I guess I would be sorry. If it happened. I don't think it did, though. Why is everybody attacking me? Okay, so then that's the other Lisa. Sorry, I got a Barlow cry and the Brenna cry. So, let's see. So Karen's like, oh, Jesus Christ, Ashley, you're so fucking messy, right? So then we go to the first communion, and now we're at the brunch after the first communion. And, oh my God, I have to let my dog out of the room because he won't stop licking his paw, and it's making me fucking crazy. It's just like,
is he by the door?
He's laying by me. Hey, Bueller, go downstairs. You're going to love it. You're going to love it down there. Go on. Go on.
Is he going to go?
On. Yeah. Go on. You're going to love it down there. Keep on going. Go on. Keep on trucking. You can do it. It's like, are you going to pet me? I don't understand what you're doing. You got to stop licking. The licking's making me crazy. You sound like a Karen Huger impersonation down there.
Feels like I just got bit by a bug on my nose.
Okay, he's not going to go. Now he's laying at my feet. Okay, so sorry, everybody. That was a bunch of unnecessary information, but life happens. So Wendy's like, the first communion was a success, you know? My boys were nervous, but they just walked up to the priest. They received their bread and they bowed, and I was just such a proud Catholic mother. I'm Catholic. Have I mentioned that I'm Catholic? I've always been Catholic, and I love Catholicism.
They show up. Now they're all like showing up at this brunch. Wendy's mom is there. The kids are there, obviously. People are all there, and then just like people are just.
The mom's like, I'm praying, right? And she's like, no, I'm going to pray. I'm their mother. She's like, I'm their mother. You're literally not their mother. I am their mother.
she's like, well, if I didn't birth you, then you wouldn't birth them. And Candace is like, can I have what she's drinking, please?
So people start coming in and hugging, and everybody's saying hi to each other and all that good stuff. So the mom comes over to the table of Candace and Karen and Wendy, and she's like, so is Mia coming? Because I want to make sure so we get prepared with more drinks so I can get my raincoat from the car.
Everyone's like, oh, they were not expecting Eom to come in with that. So Wendy's like, yeah, if anybody hurts a baby, she turns into Mama Bear and she wants to protect them. So
actually, she didn't protect you. She wants to protect herself from getting a drink thrown on her. That's all she's saying, right? Is getting a raincoat.
And I guess and then we see a bunch of news articles about Wendy's mom lashing out at Mia on social media. So and Candace is like, she's a boss. She's a real boss, a girl boss. So then Ashley shows up and her boobs are all out. She's like,
oh, sorry about showing my girls, but I haven't learned how to dress them.
I'm like, you know, you could like, listen, I there's a mirror. if you look at yourself in a mirror and you see your boobs are out and you feel it's inappropriate, then just change your outfit. I don't know what's so difficult
Ashley doesn't
here.
have outfits to change into. It's Ashley. Also, those are new, you know, diamonds and rosé or whatever she named those things. Diamonds and denim. Diamonds and denim, right? What'd she name them?
Denim and plaid. Quarter and oi.
So denims and I think they're denims and diamond. So she got new ones, and you don't know how they're going to fit in things yet. You know what I mean? So you gotta give her some grace. You got to get used to them, you know?
Yeah, I feel like first of all, I think her name they're Demi and Diamonds, I think. But I feel
Demi
like
and Diamonds. Okay,
but I don't know, maybe I'm being naive, but I just also feel like if you're at home and you put on something and it's not fitting right, you just choose a different look. So I just don't know why she's acting like defenseless, like, oh my God. It's not
she's going to wear a booby shirt wherever she goes. Listen, you're in a place where everyone's dressed nice, everyone's looking cute, and she's single. You never know when you're going to meet Mr. Right.
That's right.
Well, she's single-ish. So you always got to look at it as an opportunity. And shit, she paid for those things. I mean, listen, if your kids are old enough to like learn how to eat one bite of bread at a time, they're old enough to see a pair of tits. That's what I say.
So Ashley comes. But then Ashley basically takes a seat at this table, which means that Candace
is tits. I'm sorry I said tits. I hate that word. Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
We forgive you. So Ashley sits down, and so Candace has to move her bag, and she's not happy about that. So she's like trying to get another chair for it. So there's like some awkwardness between Ashley and Candace, as expected. But then Wendy introduces Kierna to the group, and then food comes out.
I'm sorry. I hate all of this stuff going on. It's boring me. So let me just bring this up. Something very important. Have you all heard of pickleball? Have we heard of pickleball?
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Yes, Karen, we've heard of pickleball. Ray is the mayor of pickleball. Ray knows everything there is to know about pickleball. I go, oh, God, great. What, now we get a pickleball storyline? Are you going to not allow someone's children to come? Let's stay on theme. Stay on
Also,
theme,
the way that Karen brings up the pickleball is so random because Candace is basically, Wendy's asking, like, what's going on with you? Like, Candace and Ashley, she's basically saying, like, what's going on with you two? And Candace says, you know what? I will say, like, you know, to your point, like, Ashley, I will always be okay being in a room with you. And Ashley's like, and I echo that too.
And on that note, who knows about pickleball?
I was like, what?
Well, it's a new sport. Ray's the expert. So I'm inviting everyone and their significant others. You can bring your boyfriends, your girlfriends, if you're comfortable, your children, some of them. We'll decide on whose children can't come later. And Wendy's like, I'm gonna get my Serena Williams on, okay? I'm ready. So Ashley's like, okay, well, I wanted to say to you, Wendy, that, you know, you and I had our talk about Nneka and the conversation I've had with Nneka, and I just want to clear some things up because I may have implied that she said that about you being Osu, but she didn't. I misrepresented that. And Wendy's like, what do you mean? But you told me that she came in like, oh, it's a bad thing. Like, I'm not Osu, but Wendy is. She goes, yeah, well, I didn't say she said you were part of it. I don't think. Did I say that? I don't think I did.
Yeah, and Candace like, I told you, she's being messy. Like, of course. It's like not even worth being like upset over because Ashley's a lie. She's a bold-faced lie. That's why her forehead is so big because she's just full of lies. So
that shit was funny. That's why her forehead's so big. It's full of lies.
Wendy's like, well, I have no issues with it. Thanks for aborting my storyline before I could even really get into it. But okay, thanks for being honest.
And Wendy tries her nonchalant thing again. Like, what? I don't even have any problem with that girl. I mean, thanks for being honest. Didn't even think twice about it. Completely did not send my entire family after her. Okay?
Yeah.
Could not. What's her name again? What?
Who is she? So then, meanwhile, Robin and Nneka meet up because remember they're gonna get cockies. So they show up. They make small talk about Ashley's house and everything. And she's like, "So do you only know Ashley in this group?" And Nneka says, "Well, I only know Ashley, but I just met Wendy, and I don't know her, but like I've heard of her or I've had a conversation with her at an event before." And Robin's like, well, it sounded like you were meeting for the first time. She goes, well, you know what? Listen, if she wants to meet for the first time, then we can meet for the first time. I'm not.
And she's like, but wait, that's how the exchange went. And she says, well, I mean, like, look, I guess it was like her being introduced to me for the first time. And Robin's like, okay, but neither one of you were like, yeah, we know each other. Like, hey, girl. And she's like, well, I've met Wendy at a concert and I saw her at a birthday party and she was like with her husband. And I don't know, like I saw them and normally I would have smiled, but I was just met with like, I don't know, just like eyebrows and glares. So I just... I took my Louboutin pumps and we scurried to the restroom. Okay. Well, congrats on your shoes. What the fuck are you saying? That you know her and she's ignoring you? Just say it.
But then she gets real clear because then she says, I was just expecting a little bit more aggression from her because like the past 3 weeks, her family's been like really aggressive toward me. And like, so she's got an older sister named Ivy and Ivy's been contacting my husband's cousin because they've been friends for like 13 years. So then we start to get this tale of Ivy and the cousin-in-law, and we see a little picture so we can place them all together.
So Ivy called the cousin-in-law, right? And she's like, no, she called Nneka's cousin. And she's like, well, Wendy is upset because Nneka has been using Wendy's name to socialize with you women, which is the exact... I can't stress this enough, the exact same storyline that they put Wendy through. So it sucks that Wendy's doing this to somebody. So Robin's like, what? And Nneka's like, yeah. And she was calling me a clout chaser and all this stuff, like, and saying that she needs a restraining order against me.
A restraining order? What? And yes. Because you said you knew her? And I don't even know her because I said that my in-law knows her, but I met her, which was all true. And then we cut back. Then we're like cutting back and forth between Nneka telling the story about Wendy's family sort of coming at her while we're cross-cutting with Wendy's family celebrating this communion. It's like vaguely Godfather-esque.
Right. So now we know... Now, look, it seems like Wendy is just being a total ass here, right? Like her family is. But we have to understand Ashley started this when she started trouble, which of course probably sent Wendy into like, what the fuck is with this girl? And then the family starts trying to defend Wendy or whatever. Right. So even though Ashley's like already pulled back, I wonder if that's why the producers are like, whoa, we need to pull this back. Because already we've got family members calling other family members threatening and calling her a clout chaser and all of this other stuff. So they're probably like, oh my God, we've been shooting 3 weeks and we've already got people's moms calling us. So Ashley, get in there.
So we cut to Wendy thanking everyone for coming, and Eddie thanking everyone too. And then we go back to Nneka saying, fast forward a couple days later, and Robin goes, oh my God. Well, when he calls my husband's cousin, stop. What?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Nneka's like, and it starts off super creepy. Like, have I prayed with you before? And my in-laws are like, Auntie, because that's how you greet your eldest. They're like, Auntie, like we've been family friends for a long time. So I'm sure you've prayed for me. And she proceeds to say, have I ever prayed against you? And then she started saying that it's a sin to use somebody's name and that she has a shrine and she has this shrine and that's where she puts names of people. And Robin's like, what? She put voodoo on you.
That woman put a hex on me. And then it comes to the mom saying, today I stand here fully blessed because these are my children. I birthed them. So, Father, I pray and thank you for the 2 young men. In Jesus' name, amen. And, everyone's like, you birthed them? So then it cuts back to Robin saying, did you dream this? Is this real? She says, no. And then she said that we should ask about her in the DMV. Wait, ask about who? The mom, Wendy's mom and her shrine and her prayers, and check on those people who are prayed against and see how they're doing. They are not doing well.
Robin's like, I'm freaked out. Does she prey on people and they start doing laundry with blonde people they used to work with? What's happening?
Now I know why that girl lost her wallet.
And Nneka's like, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And then we cut back to the mom being like, Carter and Cruz, today you've received the body and blood of our Lord Jesus Christ. You are protected. You are powerful. And then it cuts to Robin being like, wait, you're from the same tribe. Is this normal? And she's like, no, because like culturally we're supposed to be sisters. We're not supposed to be putting hexes on each other.
And then cuts back to the mom saying, he said, suffer the children to come to me. In Jesus' name I pray. And Robin's like, this is so creepy. I've had a lot of shit going on in my life, and I'm starting to think that Wendy's mother put a hex on me.
Oh, God. Yes, Robin. It's all her fault. Poor Robin. Robin, you can't even keep up with your own storyline. Don't go try and steal somebody else's, okay?
What a
You're cursed.
Use of a hex.
You're cursed on your own. You're cursed long before Nneka was cast on this show.
Yeah. So Nneka's like, yeah, she did do that. And they prayed against me. She threw my name somewhere. So that is what we're trying to figure out. So next week it looks like they play pickleball, and a sterno falls over, which is clear evidence of the hex. So I like that. A low level hex. Like, I'm not gonna like wish death on them, but I'm gonna make their buffet at pickleball go a little awry.
I hope that Nneka has a scene where she's sitting in front of her computer and a screensaver that comes up that's like, bitch. What did Carlton, remember when Carlton cursed Kyle on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
Oh,
and Kyle
God.
was like, oh my God, my screensaver. And she was freaking out.
I forgot about the screensaver. I just remembered, I remember the bees and, gosh, Carlton. They should bring her back. Just for the fun of it. Just a little touch of Carlton.
No. Mm-mm. No.
Well, there was some guy.
Everybody.
Well, no, we'll talk about it on Crappy Hour. Thanks, everyone, for being here.
Yeah, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Hey, you want to see what a Shar-Pei head looks like?
Oh, there we go. I love it.
Thanks for being here on Crappins On Demand. We will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Stroll in the park with Caitlin Clark.
She's not just a Sheila, she's a Daniela. Itchels. Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas.
She's never scary, it's the Green Fairy.
Jamie, she has no last namey.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know your worth with Jason Kurz.
She's the wind beneath our Jennifer Wing.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's always supplying, it's Kelly Ryan.
Kristen the Piston Anderson. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch. She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender. We want to hang with Liz Lang. The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
Give him hell, Miss Noel. She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke. Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She's quite the catch, it's Victoria Cotchett.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.
Hey Prime members, you can listen to Watch What Crappens ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the Amazon Music app today. Or you can listen ad-free with Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts. Before you go, tell us about yourself by completing a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.